Hello, my name is Dorothy McFadden. I'm one of the registered dietitians who works at the St. Luke's Weight Management Center. Today we're going to talk about organic food, and at the end of this presentation we're going to touch on a unique partnership between the Rodale Institute and the St. Luke's Anderson campus. Organic is a labeling term that indicates the food is produced without synthetic fertilizers, sewage sludge, which I think everybody would agree is a good thing, irradiation, or genetic engineering. It is produced per the National List of Allowed and Prohibited Substances. It is overseen by the USDA National Organic Program, authorized certifying agent, following all USDA regulations, and it also encourages soil and water conservation, thus causing reduced pollution. So how do you know if something's organic? Well, they have these special labels that they put on the products. So the first one in the upper right-hand corner you see here is 100% USDA organic. All ingredients in that product must be certified organic. Any processing aids must be organic. Product labels must state the name of the certifying agent on the information panel. The other label that you're going to see, it says 95% organic, and that'll be indicated on the label. So you're going to look at the label, you're going to look for the seal, and you're going to see if it says 100% or 95% organic, which means it has 95% or more of organic content. Made with organic is another label that you're going to see, and typically you'll see this on something like cereal that has multiple ingredients in it. So it's a multi-ingredient agricultural product, and the made with category must meet with these criteria. At least 70% of the product must be certified organic ingredients. Any remaining agricultural products are not required to be organically produced, but must be produced without excluded methods. Non-agricultural products must be specifically allowed on the national list. Product labels must state the name of the certifying agent on the informational panel. So you have 100% organic, 95% organic, or made with organic ingredients, which is 70% organic. Surprisingly, this is very well regulated. There's 30,000 on-site inspectors per year by USDA inspectors. Residue testing program to verify prohibited pesticides aren't being applied to organic crops. The certifying agents audit to ensure appropriate monitoring by the USDA. Operations selling less than $5,000 annually are not required to be certified, but must comply with the regulations. So there's a picture here of a inspector checking some organic crops. So why should you choose organic? Research shows that the nutrient content is not significantly different between organic and conventionally produced foods. Based on your personal preferences, some organic products, I believe, definitely taste better than non-organic products. But some things that you get or don't get with organic foods, it has much less pesticides. Organic farmers use more natural methods, such as insect traps, crop selection or rotation, predator insects, or beneficial microorganisms to control crop damaging pests. So they're not using a pesticide that could be damaging to your own body. Food additives are not used. Organic regulations ban or severely restrict preservatives, artificial sweeteners, colorings, flavorings, and monosodium glutamate. And also another really compelling reason to choose organic is that it's environmental friendly. Organic farming reduces pollution, conserves water and soil quality, so preserving the earth for future generations. Why choose not to buy organic? The biggest reason I hear is the cost. You know, we all have budgets that we need to adhere to. Organic foods just cost more due to the increased cost of farming organically. You're going to have more crop loss. Plus, it takes a good 2 years to transition your farm over to being organic, and as a result, it is more costly. Organic foods will spoil faster as they're not treated with preservatives or waxes, so you're going to have to shop more frequently, like every couple of days, to pick up your produce, which some people just don't have the time or resources to do that. And organic foods don't look pretty. You know, they look less perfect. They may be odd shapes. They may be different colors than you're used to. They may be smaller sizes. For instance, an organic apple is going to be significantly smaller than a non-organic apple. So sometimes that puts people off, even though nutritionally there's no difference. But if you are going to buy non-organic, there is some protections in place. The Food Quality Protection Act was passed in 1996. So this mandated a health-based standard for pesticides used in foods. So they had a specific standard from 1996 on. First of all, it streamlined the approval of safe pesticides. It established incentives for the creation of safer pesticides. It required that all pesticide registrations remain current so they knew what pesticides were in use. Provided special protections for babies and infants who are the most vulnerable during that period of rapid growth to environmental toxins. They passed a 10-fold safety factor to protect infants and children when assessing the health risk of pesticides. So when it was passed in 1996, it established a new safety standard, reasonably certainty of no harm. Retesting of all pesticide tolerance levels within 10 years, it did accomplish that. It assesses aggregate risk exposure to a pesticide from multiple sources. So if you're eating multiple foods that have the same pesticide on them, it's going to increase the level of what you're being exposed to, and it also will increase the types of pesticides. Cumulative exposure to pesticides with similar mechanisms of toxicity, how that's going to affect the body. The overall impact of this act, 99% of the nation's pesticide tolerances were assessed within 10 years, which is a pretty amazing feat. They ended up revoking 3,200 pesticides that could not be used anymore, recommended modification to 1,200 pesticides, and approved 5,237 pesticides. So we're no longer being exposed to that 3,200 that were revoked. So I know when people are on a budget, I say to stay in budget, try to use both organic and non-organic products if you can't go 100% organic. Select a variety of foods from a variety of sources. This is going to reduce the exposure to a single pesticide. Buy fruits and vegetables in season and buy from local farmers markets. They're going to be less processed because they don't have to travel as far, less likely to be gassed. Less preservatives used when you do farm to table. Read labels carefully. Check labels for sugar, salt, and calories. Not all organic products are healthy. Even it could be made with organic sugar. So just because it's organic doesn't mean it's low calorie or healthier for you. Environmental Working Group has a shopper's guide to pesticides and produce. This is updated every year since 2004. The guide is actually based on 35,200 samples tested by the USDA and FDA. It ranks pesticides in 48 popular fruits and vegetables. A real convenient way to get access to this list is to do the Environmental Work Group app, Dirty Dozen. You can just download it on your phone, and when you go shopping, the 12 dirtiest produce pesticides-wise, right there on your phone. Or you can go to their website, www.ewg.org, and you can print off your own guide and get more information about pesticide use. So first, I'm going to start off on a positive note, the Clean 15. So the EWG app, Environmental Work Group app, has a Clean 15 page and it has a Dirty Dozen page. So we're going to talk about the Clean 15 first. Okay, as you can see, there's a list of produce containing the fewest pesticides and the lower concentrations of pesticides. So when they tested pineapples, 89% had less pesticides, 81% of papayas, 78% of mangoes, 73% of kiwis, and 62% of cantaloupes had no residues, which is a very, very good thing. The one that came out on top was your avocado, was up in the right-hand corner there. 99% of the samples were pesticide-free, had no residues. No single fruit sample from the Clean 15 tested positive for more than 4 types of pesticides, which is a possibility. Only 5.5% of the Clean 15 had 2 or more pesticides. So you're going to be pretty safe with this Clean 15 list, okay? So I do recommend checking that. And so here is your list. You see avocados is at the top, sweet corn, pineapples, cabbage, frozen sweet peas, onions, asparagus, mangoes, papayas, kiwi, eggplant, honeydew melon, grapefruit, cantaloupe, and cauliflower. So you have quite a variety of those that you can feel relatively comfortable purchasing non-organic because you're not going to get a lot of exposure to pesticides. So now we're going to move on to the Dirty Dozen. And I have right up there in the upper right-hand corner strawberries, which makes me very sad because I like getting strawberries year-round, but it's really not a good thing because to enable to travel long distances, they actually gas the strawberries. And the gas that they use is actually one of the gases that is banned by the Geneva Convention, as an interesting side note. So the Dirty Dozen tested positive for a number of different pesticides, residues, and showed higher concentrations of pesticides than other produce. More than 98% of strawberry, peaches, nectarines, and apples tested positive for at least one pesticide residue. The average potato had more pesticide by weight than any other produce. One single grape sample and bell pepper sample contained 15 different pesticides. One strawberry sample contained 17 different pesticide residues. So at the top of the Dirty Dozen list this year, strawberries bumped apples off from the #1 slot, and now they are the first one on the list. 40% of the strawberry samples had more than 10 pesticides. And like I mentioned, that one sample had 17 different pesticides. So here's a list of the Dirty Dozen. Again, you can download the app or you can print off the guide off their website. Strawberries is #1, apples is #2. So I tell people if you're not going to buy organic apples, skin the apple. A lot of the pesticide is absorbed into the skin. For the small amount of fiber you're going to get from the skin, you're better off just taking the pesticide off and skinning your apple if you're doing non-organic. Nectarines, peaches, celery, grapes, cherries, spinach, tomatoes, sweet bell peppers, cherry tomatoes, and cucumbers all made the Dirty Dozen list this year. And every year, this is all reevaluated and reassessed. So if you're going to watch your budget, these are the items that I would highly recommend purchasing organic or growing your own. You can grow your own sweet bell peppers here during the summer months. Washing produce, regardless of whether it's organic or non-organic, you need to wash your produce. You want to even wash your non-edible peels and your edible peels. You wash with cold water and you dry it. Do not use soap, as soap can be absorbed. There are some cleaners out there for vegetables, a veggie wash that has citric acid in it, which is basically vitamin C, so that's very healthy. The overall purpose of washing your produce is to remove the dirt, bacteria, and any chemicals that may be on the surface. Fruits and vegetables without edible peels, you still want to wash those because, for instance, if you get a watermelon and you don't wash it and you cut it, you're pushing that bacteria and dirt into the inside of that fruit. So you're going to contaminate the inside of the fruit if you don't wash the outside. And this includes avocados, grapefruits, lemons, limes, squash, because you don't eat those peels, but if you cut it, you can still introduce the bacteria to the inside. And now I just wanted to tell you about a unique partnership that we have going on here at St. Luke's. We have a St. Luke's campus called Anderson Campus. It's located in eastern Pennsylvania, and it was a joint initiative between St. Luke's and the Rodale Health Institute, and this is the 3rd season that they're doing it. There's lots of extra property around the St. Luke's Anderson campus that they have transitioned into an organic farm. It's now on 11.5 acres. It provides produce, organic produce, to patients, staff, and visitors. So they rotate the items on the menus for the patients to include these organic harvest. It's also rotated into the cafeteria, so both staff and visitors have access to these freshly picked organic products. These organic harvest is transferred to all 6 of the St. Luke's campuses at this time. And they've increased their varieties of produce from 30 to 100 this current year. The Rodale Institute loans us or provides a farmer to run the operation. Her name is Farmer Lynn, and I have some pictures of her here on the farm, taking care of our organic farm at the Anderson campus. Like I said, it's transferred or distributed to all 6 campuses. So depending on what's coming in on what week, what's being harvested, they're going to adjust the menu to use the freshest products, and they're all organically produce. It's also in the hospital cafeteria with a notation that it is organic. As a result of this partnership, the St. Luke's and Rodale Institute were recipients of an Excellence in Sustainability Award presented at the 2015 Da Vinci Science Center Hall of Fame Gala. So it's a very unique partnership, and it's a nice way that our patients, our staff, and our visitors at St. Luke's can get exposed to farm-to-table organic produce. And this last slide just shows a picture of the organic farm, and in the background you can see the Anderson campus of St. Luke's. Thank you for listening to my presentation today.